So I thought I needed to make this video for Mikayla, and I really don't know how much of what you actually know what's going on, or if you have the chance to watch these videos. But just to keep y'all posted and updated, I honestly, even if I'm living in this apartment, I never know what's going to happen. I think it's because I've been homeless for so long, and the environments have been so untrustworthy that it's very difficult for me to trust any situation to think that anything is going to be stable. Anything. It doesn't matter how much kind, because I'm not financially secure, and I'm having to this very day. I just had some miniature turntables, memorabilia, and things that are being stolen from my apartment. So somebody's coming in and stealing property whenever they feel like it. So they have complete control over my bank accounts, anything that you can think of. Bank accounts, phone calls, recorded calls. And I wanted to make this very clear for Mikayla. I was speaking to this girl, what I thought it was, Lindsay Wessinger. And this is a girl that I went to high school with. Well, apparently out of nowhere, her son died, and I was being as nice and compassionate as I could. And when I was talking to her the last time, just this last recent time, I basically let her know I don't trust her. I can't talk to her. I don't know whoever it was, because the person that was on the phone was literally impersonating Lindsay, and I know 100% it wasn't. And it was the same phone number call that I called before. And this person was trying to. The last few calls that I've made with this person was 4 or 5 calls. Has been very disgraceful and mutilating of my personal life, and very nasty. This person is trying to exchange the limits that's going on between me and my mother and the twins that are involved to cover up for the white supremacy Ken Cooper. I don't like this to be racist, but this is exactly what this is. And, I wanted to make that very clear. I don't know who's transferring my phone calls, but this person was impersonating Lindsay, and I know 100% that this person was trying to make a mockery of the sound of her voice, and then started to pretend and started basically taunting about a little child dying on a trampoline and had a heart condition and died. I felt very uncomfortable the fact that this person who was impersonating Lindsay was taunting a little kid dying over the phone repeatedly, pretending to be crying, and basically making a joke and making a huge mockery of it. So I thought to make a video on that. But like I said, there's something else more important that I want to talk about. I'm watching everything that's going on these videos. This is Caesar. I'm just fixing to watch this, but I'm watching a lot of different videos about different celebrities. And when I scroll through this, all these different videos, they're the people that are controlling everything that I see. Everything that I see on here is basically being pre-selected, and it's not pre-selected of what I choose. It's almost kind of like if it's being filmed live when they're watching me. It's kind of crazy and weird. I know it sounds weird, but I wanted to make this very clear because, look, regardless, I'm watching consistently. I'm watching the Jimmy Kimmel show, the Jimmy Fallon, Dave Letterman, Conan O'Brien, all these talk shows and whatever, any talk shows. I always watch all the celebrity interviews. I watch documentaries. You just recently a 5-minute documentary, 25th anniversary for the Titanic. And I cannot explain more than anything of the belief when it just comes to belief. Every 98%, and I'm not exaggerating, I want to say 100%, but I leave a few percent out there that may be a little bit different. 98% of these people are all, and I mean all, to the suicide. I'm going to kill you and then I'm going to kill myself. That is the mentality of what these people do, but not actually do the acts. In some cases, these people are crazy enough to do that. But it's the mentality as they think that they're going into the battlefields to shoot and kill Al-Qaeda. And since I look like a Taliban and Osama bin Laden, that's how they portray me, and that's how they think. And I'm not saying this just like it's every single top celebrity. There isn't not one single top celebrity, nothing. If you're white and you claim the white power and the white American flag, then you're just against me. That is period. And when I say this, when I say all the celebrities are, it is all about Ken Cooper and Sarah, not just Sarah Cooper, Ken Cooper and Kenneth. Ken Cooper is the mascot of these white supremacists. I cannot even explain how creative and detailed these people are to defend Ken Cooper. They are portraying themselves as actors. They engulf Ken Cooper and they try to deliver the messages to the entire audiences and everyone else they can. They're talking about my mother and her twins. They're talking about Jillian and the abduction that I was there for, and how Ken Cooper's the one that was making sure that everything was going to be okay, and then he moved away. I can't even express how vengeful these people are. Like, it is. My brother got raped by 10 fully grown homosexual rapists and men between the ages of 5 to 14 years old. And these people are defending Ken Cooper, the detective hero of American flag. This is all that they're doing. Now, everyone, and these people are extremely smart. They know, and this has been going on for a long time, that they want to direct all the anger and frustration for this very period toward Ken Cooper. Because he is the, apparently, one that controls everything with Sarah Cooper, and then she just chips off the little Mexican spics whenever she can to get something. Because she's my dad's daughter. They had nothing to do with our family, but scummed when my dad committed suicide, when my mother was crying, she was being threatened. I cannot even explain it. Look, you can look up the cameras, what I'm about to tell you, it's a eureka moment to tell you how malicious and disgusting they were directly about Frankie being raped in front of me, and targeting my mother, and targeting me to blame everything and try to turn the tables as much as they can on me, because they didn't want anybody to know that they knew the whole time, because they got caught and this was going to be placed in the public eye. But I'm not kidding you. They are all vengefully for Ken Cooper, and they know this. The reason they want to do this is because they don't want me to target Kenneth, and he's a young one in Madison, the white one. But it's because Kenneth Jr. is a transgender, and I'm not kidding you. Every single time I get on this bus, Ken Cooper's actor and representative is always trying to play an acting role in front of me, including the driver, and this is transgender, disgusting, fat, lardy piece of shit that gets on this bus, and he keeps doing these disgusting things. Like, it's fucking crazy how transgender reverts to whatever the fuck they were or whatever it is, and then plays these acting roles. Why then somebody else is shooting me with electronic devices while I'm on the bus. I'm on the bus and I'm just looking out the window and I try not even pay attention to them. And this transgender girl that's transgender to a man or to a male is getting on the bus harassing me with Ken Cooper's, and they're playing father and son at the same time on the bus. And when I'm on this bus, he does this, and he sits right in front of me, and they're trying to psychologically make me into a transgender so that I look like him and I see like him. So what he does is he gets his glasses and he does this, and he looks at his glasses and he does this. He knows that everything that I'm looking and seeing is all around me. And they try to get my attention to train me like an animal, like a dog. And he does this, and then somebody with the electronic devices then shoots an electronic device across like on my eyes, so that I feel like a impression that somebody is doing to me. And it's to train me of this disgusting transgender that is given this homosexual fucking crazy rapist look, the same way that I had to experience with my uncles. And this is the type of homosexual rapist, disgusting acts that they do to me while I'm on the bus. This is just the beginning. But when I'm talking about everything that's going on TV, I mean everything that's all the interviews, it is hands down shoot out, kill Al-Qaeda, kill the Taliban member Hector. He's a traitor from America, and we're going to show him what white power American flag is. There's this fat ass piece of shit that sits at the corner every time, and he's wearing an orange shirt and sweater like he's in prison. And this guy is pestering me, following me. This guy looks fucking crazy. Like, I'm not kidding you. This guy looks fucking crazy. I'm not a murderer or anything like this, but there's a sense that I need to kill this motherfucker. This piece of shit, faggot motherfucker, fat larded piece of shit is crazy, wanting to vindicate me and my family in any way that he can. He sits at this very corner, and he's a twin. And I wanted to talk about this because they're all running stampede like a prison camp all around this fortress of an apartment that I'm living in. Every time I get on that bus, they wait for me. They're driving up and down the streets trying to hit me with their cars. When I get up off that seat, when I'm on the bus driver will slam on the brakes, or he'll press on the gas so that I have to tell him, hey, what are you doing? And they do this to harass me and threaten me, using the vehicle as a manslaughter weapon, as a way to make the environment hostile. You better do what I tell you to do. I'm going to show you what white power is quality of. And this is what they're doing. I don't say one single word in any way that I can. I don't even want to talk to anyone. And they do these acts nonstop. Every time I look at these interviews, it is so vengeful. I cannot express. This is all about, and they want to direct it toward this pig. They want to direct it toward this pig of a larded piece of shit because he's a police officer detective. And what his transgender daughter to a male thinks he's a male is now a hero to Frankie being raped and doing his own personal investigation with Sarah Cooper. Let me tell you something, Mikayla, if you can in any way find out, whoever it is that can look at these videos, when I went, I can tell you this, I knew nothing about these rapes, and they turned it against me. I had conversations about I cannot explain how warping these people and disgusting. It takes a real life Nazi, SS soldier to do what Ken Cooper was doing and Sarah Cooper was doing, because they want to hide their homosexuality, and they want to hide, the President of the United States, and understand that their homosexual secrets stay in their secrets. And they define them as the man, and then they decline to make him look like a girl, and he's a man again. And so they demoralize me in order to gratify him. But I want to make sure that I say this, because I know that something bad happened to Frankie. I know that they're not letting me have any contacts. He's either in a nursing home, something bad happened to him. But he's not able to take care of himself in any kind of way. Something bad happened to him. And they want to make sure that Sarah Palin, that when I went to the White House at Congress, this bitch was stalking me and looking at me all murderous when I was over at the Congress. And I'm not kidding you. This is how they have these acting roles of Ken Cooper's supporter, his wife. Now, you have no idea how mutilating, disgusting. I can't express what kind of person it takes to know that a child is being raped and by 10 fully grown men, and he's being cherished and praised among all these queers that are on the buses, all these apartments, every single person that you can imagine. They do anything that they can. Physical body movement is to express hatred or poison in my atmosphere. It is not to help me. It is not being kind to me. It is not being spaceful, courteous. It is none of these things that you think that you should be treated as a human being. They see me as a bearded Al-Qaeda Taliban member that is a traitor of the United States and against the President of the United States as a traitor. And if I don't do what they tell me to do, and I don't like what the President is doing or someone else, then they threaten me that they're white supremacists and white American flag, that this is what they're doing it for. Now they use these electronic devices to beat the shit out of me because they know that I'm right and they want to make me go along with what they want to believe that's a complete lie. And that's why. So I wanted to make this video. Mikayla, if you can please be careful with your life. I don't know if this video is ever going to reach you, but please understand, I cannot even express the unbelievable spirit of belief that these homosexuals in secret, all the film directors, the producers, the stage designers, the actors, they are all influential in supporting the transgender movement because President Barack Obama has the transgender daughter and all these other queers and gays that run everything in the world. That they want to confiscate and take anything that they want. I was there and got raped with my brother in some of these occasions, and I talked about them. I had conversations with what's going on, Frankie, what happened. My mother knows about these rapes that happened to Frankie and didn't do anything because she is so confined and trapped, because she has a certain mental state that these geniuses know that they can devour and manipulate and work it. My mother's twins, please don't trust them. Those working mules, all there are is working mules. They know that they can pick up the luggage for Sarah and Ken. I can never express enough. I know my mother's not in a good mental state. There's no way that you can allow 10 homosexual men rape a kid and you not explain this to your son and not say that I was raped too when she knew about it. There's no way. So they're using and abusing the twins to make sure to threaten me and using people of all scales. If any person, possibly friends, possibly anybody, distance people, not just the people around me, family members, they are using against me, certain ones. So I wanted to make sure, please be careful and please understand, because Frankie got raped by 10 homosexual men, and these people are from the highest level of God, of Jesus Christ, that Ken Cooper is just 1 inch below Jesus Christ himself. And I'm not exaggerating. These people are talking on camera like they're talking about the film, they're talking about certain things, and they're just the spirit of Ken Cooper, yeah. And I was just making sure and telling the public of, when Frankie got raped, Oh, Sarah Cooper was, because stupid Celestina didn't know, and I was making sure the twins the whole time. And they praised this person repeatedly, over and over. Let me tell you something, who makes all the best films in the industry? They're all gay. All of them are gay. The producers and directors, they're the guys that they're the individuals that stand behind the camera and they direct everyone in certain, chops here and there of the film and everything. They're all homosexuals. If there's no straight men that do it, who do you think they're going to go and support? Who do you think they're going to go support? They don't give a shit about straight people. They're the ones in control. When they don't like their white, blonde hair, blue-eyed, piece of shit, white supremacist leader, mascot is being shamed because he's a detective and he was doing detective work. I'm going to the grocery store and there's guys that look like Ken Cooper, and this is what they're doing. I'm not kidding you. This is what they're doing. They make sure they look at me and they walk by me and they do this. To walk by me, to present themselves that they're Ken Cooper, their real life Jesus American hero. the one that was just making sure he was playing this detective. These are poison thoughts. These are poisonous tactic things that they do, so that I believe, and I go ahead and I believe that this is what this character of this person is, and this is what they were doing. Remember, they're always 10 steps ahead of you. Always. So while I'm being beaten with these electronic devices, I stand submissive to Ken Cooper and the white supremacist. And this is what they're doing for their mascot. And they beat the hell out of me with these electronic devices. They beat the hell out of me with these electronic devices because they know they can get away with it and then slowly guide me to what I'm supposed to believe, including how I worship Jesus or how I believe in God. And it has nothing to do other than to use it as a mortality murder weapon. The same way that a Marine or a U.S. soldier, white soldier, goes into a battlefield and doesn't know who he has to kill in order to save the American flag, they look at me and treat me that they need to kill me and devour me in the most disgusting, mutilating, dead corpse that you can imagine, and kick it around like a worthless piece of shit like my dead sister, to make sure they're going to save American flag for their perception, their own understanding of what life needs to be. And you don't understand how nasty these people are. I never say anything. I know what's going on. I know what they're doing and what their intentions, and I don't ever try. I always try to get away and get deterred away from that kind of stuff, because I don't want to be a part of any of that. And it is very difficult. It is very difficult because they engage in confrontation in this whole mascot situation. My brother got raped by 10. I saved my brother from at least 7 of these people. Every day I walked home from school protecting him as he protected me. I risked my life watching my mother have a knife to her throat, as I risked my life being mutilatedly raped as well, so that Ken Cooper and Sarah Cooper can look like heroes because they're not old. And I don't believe Ken Cooper is even alive anymore. I think he's dead. I think he was too excessive fat and obese to have survived any more than another 15 years, because he was really severely overweight, and it's very unlikely. But it doesn't change the fact that they knew my mother is not in a good mental state. You cannot put that person to take care of children knowing that your son just got raped by 10 homosexual men and think that this was going to be some sort of, oh, we all come together for Celestina to protect her and she takes care of the twins. That's not the truth. My mother, and you don't understand how well I understand my mother and how close I was with her growing up. They used her twins to mutilate me and cut me off the minute that she had that accident with her leg. They completely cut me off. So when I want to say this, is they used her twins to completely wipe away her identity and what had happened, to readjust it for Sarah and Kenneth and Ken Cooper. The thing that's so upsetting also, I think mostly of this, is that even if everything moved on and they've already got their money and fame and everything that happened, it doesn't change the fact that they should stop messing with it, because that's all that they're doing, is making my life miserable, making my life very difficult, and that's all that they're doing. They're not doing anything else. Their purpose is to make my life as hard, miserable, and depressing as they can. Now, I want to say this because I really don't like it for it to be racist, but it has to be, because this is the white supremacist that sits at the corner claiming that he claims Frankie being raped by 10 homosexual men because he's a fat ass piece of shit, larger piece of shit that's ready with a rifle, hitting with a gun, ready to kill me. Because if I don't do what he says, now you got to keep in mind it's always a confrontational and engaging in poison. There's nothing good about it, nothing positive about it. Now I want to make sure that people understand. I always ignore and look away. I always like I fucking run. I run the other direction because I'm not going to win a fight. This is the arguments, the conversation. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy because they don't listen. They will only want to take. There's nothing that can be done about this. Nothing that can be done that's going to change the fact that they're shaming and they're faggots that are responsible for doing this, and Michael Jackson, the leader for the gay community, the president, and the gays that run everything that's going on there. Now, the only hope that there is heterosexual women. On anything on God's planet, that is truly God's gift on this planet is women. Because these homosexual queers are running around mentally very sick and disgusting in so many ways that it's just unbelievable to what these people are doing and what had happened. I don't want to talk about it as much as everyone else, as much as probably Frankie and Julian, but you don't understand. It's not to get the answers out of me. They're turning everything against you. That is the number one purpose of what they're doing. I've had somebody already threaten me at the crisis line, and they told me that they were going to turn everything against me, and they sounded like some white girl that would have been representing Madison. You have to understand that there is no justice. Mikayla, please, if you have an hour to watch this video, please do. There is absolutely nothing in this world that can be done about how disgusting these people are. There's nothing to stop. There's no way to stop it. There's no way. I cannot express what is going on here. That no praying to God, no lighting candles or worshiping or magic jewels or seances. None of that is going to stop and say and go to court and punish these people for what they did. There's no justice for this. There's no justice table. There's no rewards for what's happening. There's not going to be a courtroom where I could put Ken Cooper in prison for the rest of his life, where I could put Sarah Cooper in prison for being an accomplice in the things that had happened. Kenneth at the radio station for knowing that Frankie was raped. Kenneth was mutilating my biological father, my dad's sister, Mikayla. Every disgusting. It's hard for me to understand how a human being can be that disgusting and then try to turn it around and say, no, that's what they were doing. I know exactly what they were fucking doing. And they're shooting these electronic devices into my brain so that I forget. And I'm like, oh, what was I doing? Oh, what was it? Because they want to do this for the white supremacists and for the gays. The thing that's so disturbing about this situation, when it comes to racism, most of these guys that are gay, that were racist, were gay. Most of these males that I've ever talked to that were a racist were gay. Which is some of the weirdest thing. The reason they do that is because they know that if you want another possible gay kid in this world of what color skin they like, then you have to make sure they don't go with the niggers. And that's exactly the actions that they take. That's not what they're saying, but that's the actions they take. In some cases, they were using the N-word all the time. This is it was very racist. I can't tell you the number of homosexual men that I've come across, like gay people, and I mean they were racist as fuck. They were really racist. The gays were really, really racist toward the blacks. But you have to understand, I hope, that this video helps to whoever it is. You need Mexican support. This is going to have to, it's going to need very intelligent Hispanic heritage support for the race, for the raza, for our Hispanic culture, because this is not going to stop, and it's not. There's no justice for me to say, oh, this is fair for this person. This doesn't matter about race. No, they only go on one side because you're white, and that's it. And this is not toward Mikayla, but I know you're half white, half Mexican. They take the white side. They don't. This is not a conversation. This is not a comfort zone. This is nothing. You're white and that's it. And I think it's important for me to say this and say something about it because, I think it's just awful for me that I can't do anything about this because my mother's twins are they're literally like dogs. Shut up. Now, hey Hector, hey them. Oh, there you go. Okay, now tell them to hang up on the phone. And they're literally on the phone like this, and they're like on this secondary line, and they're ordering and training my mother when I'm having conversations. They've been doing this for almost about 2 years now, and with her twins. But I had no communication with my identical, with my biological mother. My mother's identical twins, rotten, because they're getting them to poison my mother in any kind of way, so that there's no fixation that is going to be retaliating against it, because my mother and her twins, they're the beggars. They're the one that want a house. How are you going to get money? You have no education. You don't have anything in life. You're a beggar. You're just a runt dog that pump babies in, and then we feel sorry for you, and you did it for American flag because you just helped them speak Mexican and that's full of shit. That's all nothing but lies. And I want to make this very clear. Like I said, it's very discrediting for me because it's so beyond crazy that I could explain what these electronic devices are doing. Every single morning when I walk outside and I smoke a cigarette, they'll quickly shoot something into my gut, so it just pushes and it makes you have a little bit of diarrhea. I'll turn around and then they'll shoot something into my face, or all of a sudden they shoot something and it makes my muscle tissue twitch. All of a sudden, then they start shooting my colon to screw me in my rectum like I'm being raped. It is hard for me to put any thought, try to put any thought to it, because I was there for all 10. 3 of them I got raped. Nearly. I drew maps. And let me tell you, this is all in dedication of these rapes that happened to Frankie. Mikayla, please, if you can look at the videos. Look at the videos that when I went to Sarah and Ken Cooper's house on Thanksgiving. Or no, it wasn't on Thanksgiving, right after my father passed away in Palomo. I know Hector was thrown out of the picture, my biological father. He was forced out of the picture by Sarah and Ken, and especially Kenneth Cooper, that works at the radio station for the niggas. I know, because he's hip-hop and he lived in the hood and he knows what hip-hop is, because he's just, And what happens is, this is what Sarah Cooper, we're walking outside the door, and everything about Sarah Cooper is very suspicious, and I didn't even know Kenneth was a transgender male, and I always knew something was wrong. It was just something was not, but I just didn't really want to pay too much attention to it. There was just something that was weird and didn't make sense. Like, there is a difference between a male with testicles and a penis than it is a transgender thinking that they think the process of being male and that makes them male. That's fine if they think and they want and they can be treated, but you're not one. And it's not the same. It is not the same. And I want to make sure that it's very clear that people understand. Yeah, they just shot something in my intestines, feels like, and it's a urinary. It makes you pee, and it shoots bladder or urine liquids into your body. But like I said, we went after to go visit with Frankie. This is after my dad dies. This wasn't Thanksgiving. This is right after my dad dies. Ken and Sarah tell us to go over there. When we get there, we leave, yada yada, we talk for several hours, and we get ready to leave. Me, Frankie, and Julian. This is for my mother as well. Ken and Sarah Cooper. Sarah Cooper, as we're walking outside the door, all of a sudden changes the tables and does this to me. He goes, you, and she does this, and she's pointing toward Miguel because she's blatantly knows that Miguel raped Frankie. And she tries to turn the tables on me because me and Frankie were getting into arguments. And we were kind of frustrated because this was entanglement that was so dysfunctional about, this and that they were using Frankie as a weapon, and they knew about the rapes. So then she tries to turn it on me because they knew about Frankie being raped and didn't do anything about it when I was 5 years old, when Ken Cooper showed up when I was a kid. Gave my dad a handgun and was calling my mother a bitch. So I wanted to make sure, ask Frankie if he's perfectly fine. You're going to get the evidence you're going to want. Another witness, Jillian. Bingo. Jillian is going to be the number one evidence to prove that Sarah Cooper and Ken Cooper did that. Sarah Cooper did that as Ken Cooper was looking at all of us, and he was just shaking our hand like it was business, like, oh shit, Ken Cooper, detective. I'm just pretending it undercover. That's all a lies. That's all of it is. So I wanted to make sure I can't go into more other details of some other people that are trying to cover up and protect Ken. Frankie got raped by 10 homosexual men, rapists. I did everything, risking my life, including being raped a couple of times, crying and showering in a bucket of blood in Mexico. People losing their lives, and they're all vengefully attacking me. When I go to the grocery store, whenever I get on that bus and the bus driver, that's all that they're doing. When I wait at the corner, if I don't act submissive to these people on the grocery store, or when I get on the bus, or these people are, like, it's consistent, this guy keeps wanting to engage in some sort of possible threats or shootout with a gun. Like, he doesn't say this, but this guy's acting very fucking, like, very targeting and very crazy. Don't want nothing to do with this piece of shit. This Humpty Dumpty, fat, lard, worthless piece of shit. I want nothing to do with people like that. And that's all that they're doing. Like, anything that's to target my dead dad, now he wants to target this guy that's dying over here, a couple of apartments down, to use him as a shuttle ride to make an existence while he wants to commit a murder. Like, I'm not kidding you. He walks downstairs and he walks in like it's a prison or something, and he's ready to commit a murder. Like, I did it for the fat ass and the faggots and the white supremacists. Like, everything that he thinks of is to target me. Every body language, it's nothing more than to come at me and the people around here. So I wanted to make this video, Mikayla. How much pressure is being put on me, and in everything that I see, and not only everything that I'm watching, but they're not letting me watch the videos anymore because they're changing the sound systems and they're making them very screechy, so that the sound is all screechy on any video that I place, or on certain videos, to prevent me from watching anything on a screen, and won't let me. So please understand that everyone is against me. There is nobody on my side. There is no one to defend me. There's nothing, there's no courtroom or justice place for this. But I want to say this because even though I don't believe in Jesus the way that other people do, and the way they're ordering me, and then they beat me to order me a certain type of methods of beliefs, I believe internally in God. I believe in God. And these people, don't give a shit. They don't believe in God, in my opinion. They don't believe in any type of God. They don't. They're selfish, self-absorbed scavengers of dead bodies, and mutilating in any dissecting way that they can to make this about themselves and the Cooper family. It's not me that's bringing this up any more than they are. It's them that's doing this. I'm not kidding. I'm not going around shouting out Kenneth Cooper at the radio station, Sarah Cooper. These people are the ones that are bringing this up, and malicious attacks against me. So I want to make sure that this is very understood. I am not an American to these people. These people have treated me with so much disgrace and disrespect. No matter how nice and kind, I always say try to say thank you. I always move out of the way. I'm like super delicate and detailed in any way that I can. Try to avoid any conversation, even avoid eye contact, and talk in soft tones, walk slowly like the way they want. You don't understand that's how I'm functioning, and it's because they want to engage their message and threats. Now, since they know I'm working on these model ships, they want to engage what I place on there, what I do, and how they retaliate against me. Now, they don't care that my dad was the first American Hispanic Native American Indian with a nursing degree, University of Kansas, or at least in Kansas, or World War II possibly. But I think it's important that it's understood that these people, I'm not an American to these people. I'm not. They're white American. They don't care about the Mexicans and Hispanics and even Asian people and Filipinos that went out in the Marine Corps to the battlefield shooting a fucking gun for an American flag, and this is what these people are doing. It's not me that's doing this, it's them. They don't like the beard, they don't like the black hair, and they don't like my tan skin that references a different culture. But I am not a Middle Eastern people. I speak Spanish. I grew up Spanish. Maybe my biological father may be from Brazil, or maybe ancestries like the rest of us do from the Middle East. But Jesus was a Middle Eastern. Jesus was right next to Iran, right next to all these other countries, Saudi Arabia, all these countries. He's from over there. But I wanted to make sure that you understand how miserable this situation is. It's very hard because I didn't get any credit for that. For risking my life, I didn't get anything I did for my father, and I got nothing I did for my brother. And they used my mother's twins to turn into tables and fool me for the past 20 years. I think it's been about 16 or 17 years that I had been talking to my mother's identical twins, her identical twin of herself, and not my mother. The last time that I had talking, I've only seen my mother in 20 years. One time was when I went to the hospital to get tested for cancer. That was it. And it was at a Mexican restaurant, and she couldn't even talk, and she didn't even want to say anything. And she was like in tears, like she was being slapped around. And there was Ken Cooper's white supremacist blonde-headed fucks that were sitting at the table on the other side trying to engage threats at me that they were in control of her. It was very difficult to understand and witness that, because I can't express how hateful they are and these people that did this for them. It doesn't matter. They know, very smart. They know how to run the suicide game. They know how to run this to the suicide. As long as you don't fear Jesus and God and fear Jesus, then you're more likely to commit suicide and do it in that way. That's why. And that's why they do it, because they'll run all the way down to suicide. I'm going to do all this nasty things to you, and all these things nasty to you, and all these things. I had nothing to do with it. We had to praise Michael Jackson for the gay community. This is Keynote. This is Ken Cooper and Sarah Cooper for white race. For the black niggas for Keynote. I mean, they're piling everything up over and over and over and over on top of why I don't even know what's going on in 17 years that I haven't talked to my mother. 20 years I had not talked to my mother. I had not talked to my mother in 20 years. I was responsible for there's 11, there's 10 confirmed, but there was 11. I don't think the number 11 will, I don't know if it'll ever be confirmed. Homosexual rapes, I drew the pictures, identified, I said every detail that you can imagine on videotape. And what happened to Frankie, and these people get on TV, it would make anybody never ever want to be a part of that industry. That is the most mutilating, disgusting industry that you can imagine, that these people are praising the fact that I got raped by a transgender and saying Patricia deserves to be the special princess of of Marissa or whatever her name is. What was my sister's name who died, who had Down syndrome? Marissa Miranda. She deserves to be a princess because it's once in a lifetime. And they tell all these crazy things. It's hard for me to believe that a little girl dies. They mutilate this for Michael Jackson, for the gay community, for the whites. The Mexicans have been shunned and scummed to the highest level of degree that it's hard to understand. It would make anybody to avoid any of that entertainment business. The entertainment business is the most disgusting. The talk show hosts, if you watch what they're saying and you knew the details about so much of what I'm talking about, they know when somebody's telling them very great details to then train everybody on camera and anybody that watches these videos to think otherwise. This is horrific. My brother could not get up in the morning and think to himself, I'm not going to go to school because my rectum is bleeding and pussing blood from being brutally fucking raped. But nobody knows about this because you're going to get a Ken Cooper story and a police officer American white story. That's what you're going to get. Sarah Cooper, to me, I thought she was a half-sister, but biologically she's not related to me at all. For someone to do that to her own father, I think I understand why my dad used to call her a bitch. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, my dad, Frankie and Julian, I think would have said that, or Frankie would have, if he was perfect, he'd tell you that. He used to randomly occasionally say I asked her about her occasionally when I was a kid. Very seldom I did, maybe 2 or 3 times, and my dad would be like, she's a bitch, you know, and he didn't like her. Like, but I wanted to make sure to understand that where I'm coming from, that all I can do is ignore. All I can do is best to, because there's no justice table. There's no justice table. There's no justice table to say any punishment, because whatever you take away doesn't going to change the fact that as much as you think you're taking away from any of these people or sent someone to prison or took Kenneth's job away, it's how you're being treated by people. It's how you're being treated by people when you walk into a normal situation. That's life. You can have $1 billion, but if every time you walked into a grocery store, gas station, and everyone treated you like garbage, what do you think that money's worth anymore? You think that money's worth anymore? You think that when you listen to good music, and then you walk into how many people hate you, how that affects your music, how that affects yourself? What do you think that does? And so I wanted to make this, very clear that, the hatred that was not placed on me, that was placed on me, is unbelievable. It is a riot of hatred. I don't care. This is hatred, hatred, and hatred. It's hard because, in my opinion, I wouldn't care if a guy was Mexican or if a guy was white or black or Asian or whatever. If you raped a little kid, or you did some really awful shit, like, primarily raping little kids, I don't care. You're not going to cover it up. I don't care. You're not, and because I got raped. I remember when I got raped, how I was crying in a pool of blood, literally, with feces. Me and Frankie taking a shower in Mexico. My mother used to give me and my brother Frankie showers together occasionally, and when I was like 4 years old. Like, literally, my mother would be like, very quickly, like, as she would be standing in the kitchen, the bathroom, and she would be in the tub, giving us breath, and then she'd, okay, now come on, Frankie. Okay, now, Julian, and occasionally, like, once every couple of, days or something, my mother occasionally would do that, so I'd be naked with Frankie. But you have to understand that, for there's a lot of bad things that go on out there in rape school. When somebody starts making fun of you, you got raped all the time, it's very mutilating and demoralizing as a human being. The fact that somebody treasures that and enjoys it from the very core of their beings, the very core of it. Sarah Cooper was targeting my mother in front of Frankie when she did this. You, Sarah Cooper wins again for Madison and Kenneth. And Kenneth is he's a snake for his mother. He's a worthless fucking venomous snake, slithering mamba snake for his mother. But it is hard because I wouldn't part with my mother just because she's my mother. If my mother did, unless she's severely mentally ill or just had an accident, yes, but there's no way that your son can get raped by 10 homosexual men and you raise 2 sets of twins and 4 kids. No way at all. Frankie got raped. You got to understand that I watched my mother and Frankie communicate with one another, how my mother was behaving the whole time. It is not because she can't do anything. It is because she knows the threats are coming from Ken Cooper, the police officer, and what everyone else is doing. The same way that they did to me. That is exactly why. My mother, when I'm in the car when Frankie got raped, and we're in Leach's house, and I got poisoned, and I was gone for 3 hours, and I collapsed on the ground, and I was huffing and puffing, all kinds of shit, all bubbles and screaming, crying. And I was telling my mother my stomach hurt, even when we got in the car, and I was telling her I got to throw up. But my mother was in the car after she knew Frankie got raped, and she was just like, oh, we just got to get away. And we went about the house, and she was just like, got to keep moving forward, just got to keep going. That's exactly what she did. We never had conversations about it. She didn't know about Miguel raped Frankie. God knows who it was. I don't know if my mother even knew. Maybe she actually witnessed or something that Frankie got raped by my uncle. Because let me tell you something. My mother, when I got raped and molested when I was in Mexico, I had to give oral sex and I got raped, and this happened more than once in like a 2 to 3 week vacation while we were there. He's no longer alive. He died of throat cancer. And this guy's the one that built a flower bed in front of our house. He came, after he raped us, he came to our house, and my mother let him in. When my mother let him in, he was walking to the back to go rape my brother. And he molested me in the living room. He started fondling my genitals when I was a little kid. And he turned me over to the couch and he raped me. And he just penetrated me very quick, and it was to make me gay. And as soon as he raped me, penetrating me, he goes like, one of us. That's how we do it, the straight men. The thing is so messed up about it is, I don't know if something spooked him or he did penetrate me, but I do remember feeling something that penetrated me in my rectum. But 100% I remember him turning me around on the couch and raping me. And before he raped me, my dad was in his room and he was fondling me. He walked over there. My mother knew when he cut that rabbit's head off, my mother knew this guy was crazy because my mother was telling me this guy was crazy, but he was still in the house. Do you understand how crazy it is to have 2 sets of twins, 4 kids, and my mother's having to watch Frankie get raped by 10 homosexual men because we met Michael Jackson, and President Barack Obama is charging and threatening me for it. And they're keeping me quiet. The number one reason they were giving me tickets, and the president is going to lie, and the psychologists are going to lie about this, is that the reason they gave me so many tickets is because they wanted me to burst out in anger and assault somebody to go to prison, or do something crazy to go to prison. But to keep me contained and quiet about Ken Cooper being uncovered about the rapes, and playing along with Frankie, because Sarah Cooper did this with their family. I can never express this enough. They attacked my mother when my dad committed suicide. And Sarah Cooper said it to my mother's face and was like pointing over there. I can never express this was not to help us. She just wanted to say, you go there, I control you, ha ha ha, but you're not going to get it because I kept you there. It's very difficult because I didn't understand when I'm 9 or 10 years old and so much is going on, and then my dad commits at 12 years old. It is very difficult for me to understand what the argument is between my mother and Sarah so much, because, you know, when I saw my mother, she like doesn't want to, like she can't talk. Like it's almost like when I was communicating, there's no way on earth, absolutely no way on earth, my mother is in any good mental state. You can't let 10 kids be raped and think to yourself that you can talk and you can be normal after you get a dream home makeovers. And you're going to tell a psychologist, oh, by the way, you might want to go talk to Hector and you might want to go tell Frankie because they got raped a bunch of times. And I didn't say anything about Frankie being raped because I want to think of myself. And I also have a dead little girl over there for Ken Cooper, his princess who died, Marissa or Miranda, whatever her name was. That's his princess and he's the guardian angel. Just as Sarah Cooper is the guardian angel because that's how they sent Kenneth. And Kenneth really did the guardian angel work further. For hip-hop station on Radio 97 on Beat FM, you know, for the niggas, you know what I'm talking about? This is Keynote 97, protecting Marissa and Miranda's dead body. When you take those memories, you take all that spirit, you take all these different things that all relate to that memory, you take everything away. There's nothing left to identify the completely non-existence. Jesus Christ teaches that we're soul beings, so memory is a good thing, because it retains some sort of soul and memory to the existence. That's what we're doing. We're remembering what Jesus told and did, and to move forward, remembering that all the time. And it's difficult to understand how that level of hatred, absolutely, I know it's not my mother's. I don't believe, you don't understand the threats that were happening from the minute that I was 20 years old, how everyone was scavenging off money and what they were doing, because we met Michael Jackson. And the celebrities, it's hard for me to understand, because heterosexual women are the only hope we're going to have. Only hope. It's the only hope we're going to have. Mexicans do not have a place in this entertainment. They are cornering me in every which way that I have yet to even make more videos about of other people. But I can tell you this, it's excruciating to understand that not only I saved my brother, and every day I'm walking to school like this, and you don't understand that when I'm a Frankie, like how he behaves, like I'm a deterrent toward him. This is why when we got older, he wanted to protect me. So I wanted to make this clear, because Frankie's not going to get ever any credit. For him to be mutually raped, he's in the same grade as Chris Martinez, Michael Ross, and several other friends at R.L. Turner. How many people do you think and I asked all of them, they didn't know who he was, Frankie, and I knew friends. Frankie must have been pretty quiet. Frankie's not getting any credit. He's not getting, he said, what the fuck do you think, Michael? You think you're going to come over and trash my fucking house after I'm getting raped and my mother? So you can just trash out whatever the fuck you want with my brother? Not enough. He's giving you something. Oh, but Keno. And I said, oh, but you know, it's, oh, why? It was for the gays. Oh, you know, I don't care if Jesus. Like, it's very difficult because Frankie, there's just no way that if you thought my mother does it, there's no way that you can have a mental health that's going to be, it's going to be a healthy, good balance for me, for him, for my mother, and Julian as a whole, like together. It's not going to be good because they know that they can break anything and take anything and poison anything, and they did. For me to have had Ken Cooper and Sarah Cooper and Kenneth and David at that hospital, I was dying, and had let them visit me, is the ultimate, I'm going to kill your next kid. I'm going to kill your fucking next kids. That's directly what Sarah Cooper was doing to my mother. And it's very difficult because they don't want to be viewed as monsters, and they enjoy the fact when that does happen, they're going to continue doing it and it doesn't bother them because they have the white supremacists to help them. President of the United States, when I went out there, they were maliciously attacking me for Sarah Cooper. They don't feel sorry. It makes me upset, because there's no justice in this world at all. Like, you just have to run and run away, because if you're not one of the white qualities or have the strength of the black community that unites, you have nothing. You have nothing, because the entertainment's controlled by the blacks. They make all the best music. And they make all the best. You walk into malls, you walk into elevators, you walk fashion shows. They make all the best and generated all the entertainment. And obviously the whites always go first class no matter what, and it's royal red carpet for them first. But understanding that being Hispanic and looking like those Middle Eastern people and everything that's going on, there's no hope for us anymore. And I think it's important, because it's hard, because I didn't even do anything for Frankie. Do you have any idea that, like, I know what it is to get raped, get bent over and get penetrated in blood and crying, giving oral sex and I don't even understand what the fuck's going on. The guy committed suicide, my Uncle Johnny, raping my brother in Houston. Oh, Houston, we have a problem, huh? What happens there? There's a list that I can go through all the names and details over my brother Frankie and Julian and verify everything I had to say. Willing to take a lie detector test. But I think it's important, because it's like murdering. It's like I'm killing. It's like, for me to, you don't understand that Frankie does not have any friends. He doesn't have a social atmosphere. These people that are calling, somebody just called me, like, for an example, about a week ago, and they were claiming their name was Frankie, and it wasn't Frankie's voice, and it was some white piece of shit, and I could tell it was some white guy, and this motherfucker was on the phone, and he left me a voicemail. He said, "Yeah, I'm Frankie of the recruiter company of employment," or whatever, because temp agencies looking for work, hire employees. But they play these mockery things to try to then take control of this rapes for them, for their gay glory and for their gay community, because they know how to shift the energy and they know how to shift the attitude and everything to work for them. This is not to work for me, Frankie, and my mother. The money doesn't. I'm 41 years old in 1 month. All that doesn't matter to me. It never happened, and they don't care. These Marines and these people are poison. There's a lot of racists that goes, and I've heard Marines disappearing and dying and shit in the military, rapes that are happening to women. There's so much bad shit that's going on out there. But I think it's important, because that's why I have to run for my life, because there's no hope. There's absolutely no hope because of what the number of people that they're doing. It's so awful. I had rather be building 10 years ago model ships instead of just wandering around homeless like this. Why do I need to be homeless just with no money? For the first 5 years, they would not let me work and have unemployment. They would not let me work and not let me have disability. For 5 years, I could have been doing something else. Let me tell you something. If somebody called me anytime years ago, or somebody called me a month ago, somebody calls me anytime, God, I wish somebody called me to say, "Hey Hector, we're building dream makeover houses for the entire United States and people, all over the U.S. and, want to see if you want to do free labor occasionally with us, free volunteer work." I'd put my tennis shoes on and I would be out the door to go build people free houses, and be some hidden guy in the background that was just loading the lumber, loading the concrete bags to build people free houses. I don't need to meet the people. I like to be able to help and build people free houses and just walk away from it. And just be the guy in the background. No big deal. You don't have to pay me anything. I get my disability check. You don't have to do anything for me. I'll go build houses for free. I don't have to, I actually don't know how to build the houses right. But for me to go, drive a truck and load the car with materials that they need, or, bring other co-workers and, waters and Gatorades that they need, all that great stuff, I could work for free. 5-6 hours a day, maybe at full 8 hours a day, 10-hour days. Just you know, I got my disability check, and I'll be doing that for free. Nobody did. Nobody wants to allow that to happen. But anyway, but I hope this makes videos some sense. You know, it bothers me because I know you can't. It's not. They don't want to believe what I have to say. They don't want to believe anything I have to say. They want to ignore and blemish anything I had to say in my worth life that ever was to my mother, Frankie and Julia, because they want to make sure how the leverage of the movement and the political gain is going to be moved toward. And I think it's important for me to say this because, you know, I risk my life, you know, and nobody has to give you nothing in this life for free. But you sure as hell let them have millions of dollars and freeload and scum like rapes and anything they want without a dang. I got 50 tickets in jail because they didn't want me to say anything for Sarah and Ken Cooper and Kenneth at the radio station, because Kenneth was threatening me with the police before. And you don't even understand this. You don't even understand this, and how he was talking shit about my biological father consistently, scumming him, and then trying to make me a traitor to to the father that did raise me. And it's difficult because they're not letting me talk to my mother. It's her twins, and they're telling her to be discussed for years. It's unbelievable. There's no way, and that's how they're going to do it. They're getting the twins because you erase the identity of my mother, who she was as a person, as I was their son to her. There's nothing there anymore. They completely wiped it away, and they're going to continue. Any little bits and crumbs that may be left, they're going to continue doing it. They're not going to stop. Please be careful out there.